It's time now for business, beginning with a look at the markets and firstly how things closed up on Wall Street on Thursday. Losses across the board, as you can see there. The Dow Jones down almost 0.1%, the S&P 500 ending down around a third of a percentage point. The Nasdaq, meanwhile, ending just below a full percentage point. Well, as for Asia this Friday, something more of a mixed bag. The Shanghai Composite and the Hong Kong Hang Seng both trading in positives territory, just above the flat line. The Nikkei in Tokyo down almost 0.4%. The Kospi in Seoul also down 0.37%. Well, for more, let's bring in Rayhan Baysan, a markets analyst. Rayhan, what exactly are we seeing? What should we read from those latest movements on the markets?
Good morning. As you pointed out, there is a mixed sentiment right now in Asia this morning, but we should definitely point out to the fact that tech stocks are losing. They took a hit after the US President Joe Biden, he issued an executive order targeting the Chinese companies doing business with certain Chinese companies doing business with US companies due to their links with the Chinese military. Of course, this is an important thing to watch. It's the clue to see where the US-China trade war is headed under Biden presidency. But today, markets are all about the jobs data, which we'll see later today from the US.
And why exactly does that non-farms data matter so much for global markets?
It's important because we'll get, first of all, the non-farm payrolls, the unemployment numbers, and also the average hourly earnings from the US. And this data set is very important. It will update us whether the workers are going back to their workplace, even though markets are really looking for some answers from the Fed to see what the Fed can do next. We all know that they're not going to change anything based on a single data. But last month's numbers were very disappointing, and people want to just see whether there is an upward trend in this. And if we see a strong data, then it will certainly trigger the inflation debate again and what the Fed might do next. But let's remember that there are still 8.2 million Americans who are out of their jobs, and that's like compared to the pre-pandemic levels. And most of these people are out of their jobs because their workplaces were shut down permanently. And the Fed wants to see whether there is a sustainable development in that area before taking any steps forward.
And Rayhan, is there any other important data we should be looking out for as the trading week comes to a close?
Today we'll be getting the Eurozone retail sales, which is important because it's an important figure for inflation trend, inflation expectations. And as the economy slowly comes back to normal in the Eurozone, we've seen some upward trend in that. And we should note that the Eurozone inflation hit 2% this week, along with the expectations of the ECB for the first time since 2018. This was good news. So today's retail sales will be important. And if we look at next week, two important data will be followed. And for example, the Eurozone first quarter GDP numbers and US inflation figures will be on the agenda.
Rayhan, thank you very much for your insights today. Food prices around the world surged at their fastest pace in a decade in May. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization says food prices rose 4.8% compared to April and were 40% higher than a year earlier. Its food price index has risen for 12 consecutive months. Analysts say high prices could add to concerns about food security for the world's most vulnerable populations.